She is available for a 30-minute consultation. So if you want a 30-minute consultation from Ms. Kim, just email us and we can set you up so she can help you. So like as Dr. Yoshida said, a good essay will help you a lot, right? Help when it comes to college applications. So the English and foundation part becomes very important. But by high school, the English we use to write reports and we need for classes have already become pretty challenging. So today we welcome our head English teacher, Mr. Johnson, to explain why English is a subject worthy of pre-studying in the summer. Let's welcome Mr. Johnson.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now, well, obviously, English is important in order to communicate. And if you're going to be good at STEM, that's a wonderful thing. But usually the person that runs the company that you're working for is a person who has mastered English, not merely the ideas, but also the psychology of people. English has now sort of grown into something more than merely language study. It includes the historical development of ideas. Poetry, for example, is a good framework that, since you just mentioned that. They may not want it at Caltech, but I'm sure they do it at Stanford and places like that. Now, let me just briefly go into what we're doing here. Now, I have the 4 classes: critical reading and advanced English. And of course, now critical reading, what we have is we have a number of skills here. First of all, you have vocabulary. You have to know the words or you can't function very well. And second, grammar. You must understand English grammar. It is greatly neglected these days. And it's not fashionable to apparently to know grammar anymore. But I guarantee you, I've actually had to work for a couple of people who were senior executives in their company and were unable to write a legible email. They couldn't even write their own emails because their English grammar was so bad. And so it's very valuable to have somebody there who really knows their grammar backwards and forwards. And of course, so we have vocabulary, we have grammar, then we have reading, which you think that a kid would know that by the time they get into college or high school anyway. But there are lots of kids who really need help reading, doing what we call critical reading. Now, reading involves 3 skills. Number 1, you must comprehend what the sentence said. Obviously, if you can't comprehend the sentence, you've got nothing to do there. Number 2, though, this is not many people really pay attention to the second stage, which is you have to remember what you've read. Okay. I don't know how it's used to happen to me a lot, not too much anymore, but I would get to the bottom of a page and not remember a single thing I read on the page I just finished. This is a skill and it's something you can teach yourself to do. Okay, but you need to remember things. You need to file them where they can be found when you want to know them, especially proper nouns. People neglect proper nouns. They think if I have a general idea of the idea, that's not convincing. What's convincing is to come up with names: Emmett Till, Mississippi, Chicago. Those are convincing. And that's when you get results, not with generalities. And the third is to have a skeptical voice in the back of your head saying, really? As you read through something. Okay, you cannot just blindly accept whatever is written. You've got to question it. You've got to say, is this really consistent with what the writer said in a previous paragraph? And what does the person really mean here? I know what they're saying, but what do they really mean? Is this consistent with what I've learned elsewhere or what I know from other sources? That's critical reading, and you need to do 3 steps. And I find that kids just don't get that type of training. Okay, then writing, of course, writing seems to have gone out of style. Okay, it's no longer tested. Even on the SAT test, they don't even have the writing test anymore. So that what is there that will convince a kid that they need to be able to communicate? Now, I actually had a student who gave me a brilliant idea, and that is that kids love to talk. They love to talk, but they hate to write, or at least they think they hate to write. Actually, writing can be fun. Okay. It can be. And is it possible that anyone ever has fun writing? If you just ask yourself that question first, you'd have to say yes. I know people who, when they grow up, that's what they want to do. They want to write. Okay. Can it be fun? It can be fun. Why isn't it fun? Because it's a nuisance. Organizing ideas and coming up with examples, it's a nuisance. Thinking is a nuisance. It's true. If you don't have to think, it's much more convenient to just go ahead and would never have to think an idea, never have to have an idea in your life. But once you show a person a way to frame their idea, that they just go follow the steps, okay? Follow the steps, and then it's great fun. It's great fun. Just like, what do you say? Debate can be great fun once you get, if you're good at it. But I no longer really support debate much because it takes a nice kid and turns them into an argumentative little jerk. Anyway, so that's critical reading. Then we have a US history course. And I try to teach the real gritty facts of US history here. This is something that kids won't generally get in a public school. So it's something that if you're interested, I can send you a copy of my book. Then vocabulary, critical reading, and grammar. That's the Saturday class. And then we have the later Saturday classes, critical reading and literature. I work literature into almost every class. So depending upon the aptitude of the students, it all depends on the kids that are there. How much can they absorb? Okay. And I have always been somewhat annoyed by classes where they go as fast as the slowest student. I have never taught that way. I like to challenge the better students. Okay, if a kid is having difficulty, as long as they keep trying, we'll keep them in there. We'll help them to get along and catch up, get ahead. But if you have somebody in there who's really outstanding, you have no right to hold the kid back and not let them expand at their own speed. And so I always try to have some challenging material there. Sometimes I'll have a class where we'll have kids at different levels because it really doesn't matter. You can give individualized attention because you understand the level the kid's at. So you could have a kid who's real smart and a kid who's really struggling in the same class. Okay, and very often you have a positive feedback from that because a smart kid has got to do better than the kid who's struggling. And the struggling kid is always challenged to try to do better or to catch up to the smart kid. That's why it's so fun to have siblings in the same class. It's really good, the dynamic of that. Anyway, so basically that's it. Vocabulary, grammar, reading, the 3 steps of reading, challenging material. And so that's what we try to offer here. And over the summer, that's when I got ahead. I was a summer school class after 5th grade. Well, after 5th grade, I took a vocabulary class, and that set me so far ahead of my colleagues that it was very good. That was I have to say that was the springboard for my educational background. Was a summer school class after 5th grade. Anyway, if anybody has any questions, I'm certainly happy to answer them. But that's pretty much all I have to say. So, turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Johnson? Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. So
okay, thank you.
Thank you. So that teacher that Johnson spoke about that can speak 16 languages, that was Mr. Johnson. He's a wonderful teacher. He has been with us for at least 15 years, and He's wonderful and great at motivating students to excel. So finally, oh yes, and as you see on the slides that he teaches 4 classes with us this summer. If you're interested, you can always call in, email us. He teaches critical reading, advanced English, US history, vocabulary, critical reading and literature. Okay.